Okay. Well, everybody, this is Jamal and Don. They both went to Georgia State with me. That's how I was able to meet these two incredible entrepreneurs. So these are great friends of mine. I hope you're excited as I am to see them and hear them talk. So I'm going to open the floor up to you guys, whoever wants to start.
Thanks, Bree. Hello, everyone. Thank you all for the opportunity just to share some of our insight and some of the knowledge that we've been able to acquire over the years. I'm excited for this opportunity and hope that what is shared is useful. And I'm an open book, so feel free to ask any questions. Want to go over like just a quick 10 to 12 minute presentation about entrepreneurship, branding, and like the importance of networking. And then Don will step in and then go over a few things, and then we'll go from there. Sounds good?
Yeah.
Okay, so just a little bit about me. As Brianna mentioned, I went to Georgia State. That's where we all met. I also played football there. So you'll see a picture from my freshman year running down on kickoff. So I played defensive back at Georgia State University from 2010 to 2014. The great state of Georgia and the greater city of Atlanta. That's where I've been. I'm back here now, currently based in Atlanta. And I believe, little biased, but I believe it's the greatest place on earth. A lot of opportunities. And I do believe it's a place of dreams. I call it Hollywood of the South. So you can make it here. Anything that you aspire to be can happen in Atlanta. Also, I have on here, so I have Georgia State. I got my master's degree, dual master's from the University of Central Florida in Orlando. So I got a master's in business administration as well as a master's in sports management, which kind of propelled and launched my career into sports or sport entrepreneurship. While in school, also pledged the greatest fraternity that I believe known to man is Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated. And I list all these things because it's going to tie into, it's going to come full circle into like what we talk about a few slides later on. And then finally, I had the Albert Wilson Foundation, which that's where majority of the work that I do comes from. So we're going to talk about establishing a business or growing a business, setting goals, having vision, and then just ultimately executing on the plan that you have or that you set forward. So entrepreneurship. So if you look up or if you Google entrepreneurship, you may see a variety of different definitions. But the definition that I have here is what I feel is most important. Derived from the Merriam Dictionary, it says entrepreneurship is the pursuit of opportunity beyond resources control. So a lot of times you may hear about entrepreneurship and you may think of just, oh, that's working for myself or being your own boss or establishing a business. But I want to take entrepreneurship a step further and focus on the thought process behind being an entrepreneur. I think being an entrepreneur or entrepreneurship just isn't working for yourself or not having to report to anybody, but it's about the spirit that you have and the mindset that you have to accomplish the things. So it says the pursuit of opportunity beyond resources control. So we know that some of us may come from environments where resources are limited, but an entrepreneur isn't going to be defined by the resources that they have in that moment. They're going to find other opportunities. They're going to find other avenues to get things done. They have a dream, they have a vision, and they're relentless in their pursuit and executing that vision and executing that dream and bringing that dream to fruition. So that's what I believe entrepreneurship is. So I believe you can work a 9-to-5, but you can still have an entrepreneurship spirit. No matter where you are, no matter the environment that you're in, if you have the mindset that you aren't going to be defined or limited by your circumstance or by the resources that you currently have, then you are an entrepreneur. You define entrepreneurship. So at the end, we open up to you all's mind about entrepreneurship or when you hear about an entrepreneur. So for me, when I hear about entrepreneurship, I have it listed here. I think of entrepreneur, I think of a go-getter, I think of an innovator, I think of somebody who's creative, I think of a business person, an author, an owner. Those are some of the first things that come to my mind when I think of entrepreneurship. And I really want to empower everyone listening to not to focus so much on the word entrepreneur, but to focus on the words innovator or to focus on the words creative, because no one can limit your creativity. Never allow anybody to limit your dreams. So if you could be innovative, if you consider yourself an innovator, the sky's the limit. There's no cap to what you can accomplish and what you could think. A lot of things that we see today may have been unthinkable a few years ago, but somebody considered themselves an innovator and want to think outside the box and challenge the norm. And then that's where they stepped out on faith, they took that risk, and they became an innovator and accomplished what they set out to do. Be creative. Don't worry about if somebody thinks something is weird or somebody thinks something is different. Dare to be different. Dare to be yourself, and be creative in the things that you want to do, the things you want to see get done. A business person, no matter how small or large the business is, it has to start somewhere. So if you take the approach and you consider yourself a business person, you consider yourself a business, and your everyday approach, your work ethic, then you are a business person. Author, that ties into being an innovator and being creative. You're the author of your story. Like, your life is its own book. So you hold the pen to the story that you want to tell. And as you have the freedom and the creativity to tell the story however you want it to be, you can write the beginning, you can write the middle, and you control the end. And then owner ties into those things. Just having ownership, being accountable for the things that you want to see done and making it happen. So after we go, moving along from the words that I just mentioned, here are two pictures. The bottom picture is of Miami Dolphins wide receiver Albert Wilson and myself. So Albert was my roommate. We played together at Georgia State. And two people that we looked up to in regards to entrepreneurship and starting a business were the gentleman at the top in the picture above us, LeBron James and Maverick Carter. So tying in to the importance of networking, when we were roommates, we were just playing football. We both had a vision of things that we want to accomplish. And in that moment, we're freshmen in college. We're just college students trying to navigate our space. But that's where the importance of networking across comes in. And I always tell anybody that I speak to, the importance of networking across is just as valuable as networking up. So a lot of times we walk into a room, or when we're in these networking settings, we want to meet with the CEO, or we want to meet with the owner or the person that's in a hiring position. And granted, they may be able to hire you or do something for you at that time, but it's just as important to network and utilize the people around you, your classmates, your teammates, your neighbors, those individuals, building those relationships and networking across, because you never know how that individual can help you down the road. So looking at these individuals in the picture above us, and just looking at how LeBron used his platform as a professional athlete, how he had someone that was in his circle, a close childhood friend that he trusted with his business ventures, and they were able to set out a vision, develop a platform, and they would continue to execute. Not saying that they didn't make mistakes along the way, but he surrounded himself with a great team of individuals to accomplish the things that he wants to accomplish. So Albert and myself, we kind of modeled the Albert Wilson Foundation, which we strive to support and enrich the lives of youth in foster care throughout South Florida. We kind of modeled after the LeBron James Family Foundation and other avenues. And although we modeled after that, Albert had his own vision, and we took some of those things here and there, and we picked up a pen and we started to write our own story and the things that we want to accomplish. And just in our 5 years of existence, we've been able to help over thousands of youth throughout South Florida, provide a scholarship, and we've been doing more in the community right now, despite this pandemic that we're going through, because we're all in this together and the work never stops. So it's no limit to what you can do when you consider yourself a creative and innovator, and you're giving back from a genuine place. So lastly, I'll leave you when it comes to entrepreneurship. These are what I believe are my keys to success when it comes to entrepreneurship. So first, you have to establish a dream. Everything starts with a dream. If you don't dream it, if you can't picture it yourself, then you're never going to accomplish it. So going back to what I said at the beginning, never allow anyone to limit your dreams. No dream is too big. No dream is too small. Number two, develop a plan. So you may have heard the saying, a dream without a plan is just a wish. So after you have that dream, write it down. Don't be afraid to write things down. Develop a plan. Ask questions. When you have an opportunity to meet with different people and you have these speaker series like you have now, ask a bunch of questions and try to pick someone's brain to see what worked for them. Just because it worked for them doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work for you, but you could take little nuggets here and there and apply it to your plan and your goal, in addition to being creative and thinking of things on your own. Number 3, identify your goals and set a vision. So once you have that plan, set time, put together a timetable and set achievable goals. So everything isn't going to happen right away. Some people may strike gold right away. Some people, it may take time, but make sure you set deadlines on, hey, I want to reach this goal by this point. This is where I want to be, and being able to see it. So setting a clear and concise vision. Everybody may not understand your vision when you explain it, but as long as you can understand it, the greater you understand, or the more concise your vision is, the better you'll be able to articulate, and eventually the buy-in will come. But first, you have to have that, identify those goals. You have to have that vision. More importantly, you have to believe in it. Number 4, take action, take the risk. So going back to what I just mentioned, everyone isn't going to see your dream or believe in your goal how you do. But it's important for you to believe in yourself and not be afraid to take that action, take that risk. Part of being an entrepreneur is taking risks. A part of being creative or being an innovator is risk. So not being afraid of mistakes. So I always tell myself, mistakes are going to happen, but make them fast, learn from them, and try to make them as inexpensive as possible. Because sometimes you may be in a situation where a mistake may be costly, and that may be okay. But as long as you can learn from it and you don't make the same mistake twice, that's really what's important, regardless of how costly that mistake may be from a monetary standpoint. Number 5, face your fears and challenge yourself. Never allow complacency to creep in. So whenever you find yourself you find yourself allowing doubt to creep in, or you find yourself allowing complacency to creep in, just remember to continue to challenge yourself, to continue to evolve, and never stop learning, whether it's asking those questions, whether it's picking up a book, whether it's watching that YouTube video, utilizing the resources that you do have and the things that you have access to challenge yourself and continue to move forward. Number 6, put in the work. Put in the work. So a lot of times we want things to happen right away. They consider us the microwave generation, where you just put things in and then it's going to come out exactly how you want it. But life doesn't always work like that. So make sure you have the mindset where, hey, this may take time, but I'm willing to put in the work because this is something I want. This is something I believe in. Utilize your network. So all those pictures and images that I had at the beginning, those are a part of my network, whether it's the university, Georgia State University, whether it's University of Central Florida and my graduate program, the cohort I was in, whether it's my teammates from football, whether it's my fraternity, Kappa Alpha Psi, whether it's working with individuals like Don, or having an opportunity like this just from going to school with Bree. All those things stem from Georgia State University. All those things stem from my network. So utilizing your network, your classmates, your teammates, your administrators that you work with, your teachers, because you never know when opportunities like this or anything else may come up down the line. So utilize your network. Know your audience. Know who you want to serve. If you know exactly who you want to serve, an audience that you want to cater to and get towards, then that makes your goals easier. That makes whatever business you want to start easier, because you know the target audience, you know who you want to serve, and then you're better able to reach and understand their needs and the things that they're concerned about. And ultimately, your product becomes better, and you're able to grow as a creator because you're able to focus in on that sole audience. Number 9, I mentioned it before, but learn from your mistakes. Try as much as possible not to make the same mistake twice. Really learn from them. And I always tell myself, and I tell others around me, that we never take a loss. A L isn't a loss. A L is just a lesson learned. So even when you feel you may fail or feel you have made a mistake, just take that L and utilize it as a lesson. Say, all right, what did I learn from this? Am I better from this? And I'm going to move on. So don't dwell in failure. Don't dwell on that mistake too fast. Learn from it and move on. And then finally, number 10, believe in yourself. Everything starts and ends with belief in yourself. If you don't believe in your own product, if you don't believe in the services that you can provide, if you don't believe that you can step out and take that risk to start a business, then no one else is. So if I can leave you with anything else, I believe the most important one that I want to empower you all with is belief in yourself. Those are my keys to success. And I'll let Don step in from here. Thanks for the opportunity.
Okay, so really just kind of piggybacking off of where Jamaal just came from, and also just to give a quick intro on me. My name is Dawn. as you all heard, me and Jamaal and Brianna all went to Georgia State together. Me and Jamaal have worked pretty closely together. I've helped with the foundation and things like that. I also have a swimwear company that I started about 3 years ago with my best friend, a brand that we established. That's been going great. And also have my master's degree from Liberty University and in psychology. But I'll just go ahead and dive in. I really just wanted to talk to the high school students about some things that I feel like are important, or things that I kind of wish I would have known when I was starting out in my journey after high school. It's a little bit more hectic than I think a lot of us think when we're young, and now that we're in their age, a lot of us are asking if we can hand back our adult card and be kids again. So here are just some tips for you all. So just starting out is I really try to enforce as students are coming out and venturing out to that next step, really sitting down and figuring out what you want to do, or even if you're just at a point in your life where you don't like your job, really sitting down and looking at what you really like to do, and really, I would say, do research from there, because you could look at a passion and think it's a passion, and once you get into it, there are some passions that people realize that it's not necessarily something that they do want to do for the rest of their lives. So above all, I say do research on it, read the books and things like that, and get that experience that other people have had, so that you don't have to make the same mistakes that they've had. You can really learn a lot by reading books and things like that on people who have been through the process. And once you have sat down and figure out what that passion is, and you're doing that research, you want to look at what type of demand can come from that passion. If you like writing, how much does a journalist make, and things like that, and do they make enough money to provide you the lifestyle that you are really wanting to live. And that's another thing, just really understanding the different career path options that are out there, because that's one thing that I would say that I had limited knowledge on, just the options that are out there, and realizing, like Jamaal said, that the world is really your oasis. If you see something that you like, it's really just a matter of setting those goals and getting there. I included this link down here because I went on it and I really liked it, because you can go in and you can pick basically the lifestyle that you want to live, how often you want to go shopping, how much you want to go out to eat, and things like that, and kind of builds this simulated monthly cost for you. And then it'll set you up where it'll give you different options of careers where you can pick these different options. I mean, look through these different options and see what types of careers would satisfy that lifestyle that you are looking for. And of course, you aren't just limited to the options that they have listed there, but I thought that was a really good start for people, and just seeing what you are interested in, and what options might be out there that you didn't see before. And next, I would say that it is very important, once you've determined that passion and did your research on it, find a mentor. Find a mentor, someone who you look up to, someone who you feel like has those qualities and qualifications and things like that that you want to obtain, because having that person can really show you, like I said, you can avoid those mistakes that they made. They can give you a lot of connections. Like Jamaal said, connections are amazing. So they can connect you with, they might be able to give you a letter of recommendation or whatever it is. Having a mentor, especially someone that's related to the things that you're interested in, and what you're wanting to do as you move forward in life, can really give you a step up, a leg up in the game compared to someone who doesn't have that. And here I have listed Youth Drive is actually, it's for high school and college students to find mentors. All the mentors here are free. People are just volunteering and wanting to help out people who are students who are coming up behind them. And SCORE is actually specifically for entrepreneurs who are looking to find a mentor for their small business. You can, and that one is also free, where you can hook up with someone either virtually or you all can meet up in person. Of course, now it would only be virtual. But they'll connect you with someone who's local. And I've actually done that before in 2 different areas, and it's really a good service. Okay, and setting goals and taking risks. Very, very important when it comes to taking a leap out of high school and into entrepreneurship, or whatever it is that you're deciding to do next. Like Jamaal said, having that mindset, whether you're wanting to start your own business or whether you're working for a company, that mindset will really keep you moving forward. So really setting goals beyond just what I want to do next year or what college you want to go to and things like that. You want to set goals that are 5-10 years out so that you can set that 10-year goal, and then, or at this age, probably set that 5-year goal and then tally back from there and see what you really need to do to make it there. And then your daily to-do list are your smallest goals that you're making. At the end of the day, you want to get these 5 goals done, because those 5 goals are going to help you get to that 5-year goal. Making daily to-do lists are a really important part of staying consistently productive. And as you see down there at the bottom of the PowerPoint, I have consistency is key, because when you work harder and you're consistent about your hard work, those are the people that you're usually going to see at the top. And my experience of talking to different entrepreneurs and learning from so many different people, the difference between the people who make it and the people who don't make it are really the people who put in that work and put in that time consistently. There are so many people who might put in the work, put in the time, or they might get tired of it, or starting a business, things get difficult. So people can run out of money, or just resources in general, or just might be tired of the idea in general because it's just been so stressful dealing with it. It's the people who can push through those hard times of whether you're going to let it go or keep moving, who really make it to the top. Those are the professional athletes. Those are the CEOs of companies. That's the president of the United States. Like, those are the people who put in that extra work and stay consistent on it. And I have included on here, closed mouths don't get fed, because that is one of my biggest quotes that I live by in our reality. And really in the last, I would say about year or two, that it's really come to a strong reality of course, this is a quote that we've heard over and over again, but I've put it into play where it'll be a moment that I might be afraid to ask for something, or whatever it is, being timid about asking for things. I've read numerous articles on just how women in general don't, they're much less common to ask for a raise than men do. And a lot of times at the end of the day, it's really a matter of asking. And it's like, if they would have asked, then they would have gotten it, but they didn't. So we didn't give it to them. So after just hearing so many things from so many different people and reading so many different books and things like that and articles, that's one of my biggest things. Definitely ask for it, because the worst that's going to happen is a no, because you would really be surprised how much you can get if you put your pride aside, or whatever it is that's holding you back, to go ahead and ask for that letter of recommendation or whatever it is. And then all in all, when I say people have to work hard in order to make it to the top, I feel like we all have to also remember that your mental health is important above all, because if you're unhappy, that spills over really into everything else. If your job is stressing you out that much, chances are you're bringing that weight home on your shoulders, and things start going downhill with people who have extremely stressful jobs all the time. So even when you're in school and in college and things like that, just remember to enjoy your life. Remember to, while you're working hard, it's okay to go and have some fun with your friends every once in a while, because you don't want to reach your 30s or 40s and look back to your younger years and realize you worked so hard, and yeah, you are where you are, but you really have no memories that you were able to create, because I'm just a strong believer in the idea that work is not life. You should still be able to enjoy life. You should still create your memories and things like that as you go through this journey. And last but not least, a very important factor in leaving high school and starting a business and doing things like that is financial literacy. There are so many people that just don't really understand so many things when it comes to finance. So specifically speaking, just understanding how to efficiently budget and manage your money. When you're starting a business, you need to make sure you have a budget, just so you don't run into those situations that I was speaking of running out of money and things like that. And just, you need to make sure you're looking at what's more important. Like you should be putting your money early on into things that are going to reap benefits and bring you more money, like marketing and things like that. So just really closely looking at how your money is being spent. And even when it comes to leaving high school and going into college, that's really the time that you're on your own, and you are doing a lot of things that aren't necessarily under your parents anymore. So you're making a lot of your own decisions. So a lot of students will get a credit card and end up with loads of credit card debt and things like that. So just making sure you're efficiently budgeting your money and understanding how much money you are making in comparison to how much money you're spending is important, to make sure those two level out. And then making sure you understand how to save. For example, there are a lot of people that talk about the things that they can't afford, or things that they don't really imagine themselves being able to get, when at the end of the day, it can be a vacation, it can be for a car or whatever it is. If you can put away $20 every 2 weeks, $20 a month, whatever it is, that money adds up. So instead of just thinking you can't have it and it's just not within your price range, I just think a lot of people don't realize just saving a little bit really goes a long way, especially if you're saving in a savings account that has a pretty high return, which, I mean, none of them are really high, but just putting your money in savings accounts that have higher returns. Also building an emergency fund for situations. If you have a car, if your car breaks down, you want to make sure that you have money for that, so that you aren't pulling from your check that you're getting this week. You can say, oh, I already have $300 saved up. If it's more than that or whatnot, at least I have this money to go towards it, and it doesn't feel like such a hard hit in that one situation. So creating an emergency fund for whatever situations you have. If you have children, for if things come up with your children, and like I said, if you have a car, or just things like that. And then establishing credit. Leaving high school, obviously most kids leave high school around the age of 18. So that's the time that they are able to get credit cards and things like that. So like I said, just understanding how these credit card works, and understanding that every dollar that you spend, you have to pay back. And on a general basis, every day that you leave that dollar on that credit card, it's getting interest charged on it. So you're, at the end of the day, chances are you're going to end up paying probably thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars more if you build up that credit card debt and don't understand how it works until it's too late. So just understand that before you get that first credit card, is just don't spend what you don't need on that credit card and make sure you're paying it back. And that also comes with starting a business, because starting a business, a lot of people need loans and things like that. So just understanding how to manage your money and pay those loans back once you do start that business. And like I said, putting that money towards things that is going to reap returns for you, so that you are able to pay that loan back within a reasonable amount of time. And last but not least, investing. A lot of people, I think, look at investing as this big beast that they feel like they can't necessarily handle, or it's just this big, broad thing that they'll never really be able to establish, because it's just, you probably have to have a lot of money to be able to do it. And you would be surprised how little money people can start out with when it comes to investing. So I have this link down here at the bottom that actually has, it's a simple online course for high school students to be able to understand all of these things that I have listed here in these bullets, as far as budgeting, saving, credit cards, investing, and things like that. So it'll really give, I think, a really good insight on teaching students how to take that next step and understand finances as they leave high school. So I am going to, this is my email here in case anyone does have any questions, but that is it for me right now.
All right, so if anyone has any questions, students, you can either come on camera and ask the question. You guys can also utilize the chat box. You go ahead and ask some questions there for either Jamaal or Don. Okay, and then while we wait for some questions, so Jamaal, I know you said, I was listening to your presentation and you were talking about turning L's or losses into lessons. So with that being said, with both of you guys, what was your biggest L, your biggest loss that you were able to turn into a lesson?
Ooh, great question. Great question. Biggest L. Man, I'm trying to think of a good one. I can't think of a specific example per se, but the first thing that comes to mind, is just like in school, grad school per se. It was an opportunity to go to a conference and to grow more and develop more professionally, expand my network, and to just acquire knowledge from other industry leaders and just professionals, other entrepreneurs. But I allowed that doubt to creep in. Oh no, I'll give another example. An entrepreneur came and spoke to my class in one of my MBA courses. Prior to coming, he said, he emailed the class and said, y'all send me any questions that you all have prior to me speaking on Friday. That way I can kind of tailor my presentation based on what you all are interested in. And I just blew past the email along with like 36 other of my classmates. Only 2 people emailed questions. So then when the speaker came and presented that Friday, because only 2 people sent him questions, he got them like courtside seats to like the Magic game, like that following week. And granted, like it's just a basketball game, but the lesson that I learned from that is that you had an opportunity to ask questions. This is somebody who is successful in the field that I want to be in, but I passed it up because I didn't take it serious. I didn't respect his time and then value him coming to my class enough to send him questions ahead of time so he could speak on some of the things that I can learn from and some of the things that will help me right now in business. So I say that, one, don't miss out on the opportunity like that, because you never know, like if somebody's gonna have courtside seats per se, but just the opportunity just to respect and value somebody's time. So yeah, I missed out on the opportunity like that, but the lesson that I learned is that, hey, everybody's time is valuable, and that when you have an opportunity to ask questions, you should take advantage of it and ask questions.
And Don?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to take it to college days because I know I was always told to make those connections with your teacher so that you can have those recommendations. But I'm such a do-it-yourselfer. I figure things out on my own. So I was never one to make those relationships with professors. So I took that L when I needed recommendations for college, but I mean, I still, of course, ended up getting, or I'm sorry, not for college, but for a program that I was trying to get into. Um, but I'll say I turned it into a lesson because when I did end up working in the emergency room, I was able to make a lot of good connections with doctors that I'm still connected with now and have written me quite a few recommendation letters.
Okay. And you actually have a question in the chat box. Um, so this question is for Dawn from Madalena, and she wants to know, who are your mentors and people that you look up to and why?
I have a specific lady that I work with out in California that's one of my mentors. And I recently started working with her specifically because of my swimmer line. And she's been in the business for 30 years now, and she's worked really in every single aspect. She's someone who's learned from creating the product to getting it sold in department stores. So she was just someone who I met actually at a trade show last year, who's just really been able to, she's been an open book for me to really be able to give me a lot of support. So that's my main mentor that I'm working with now because she's very tightly tied in with everything that I have going on right now.
Okay. I'm seeing another question here. Okay. So the question is, what advice would you give someone who might start a business and invest, but do not have the right resources as the first step?
That one's hard to say because it really depends on the business and it depends on what type of resources you have and things like that. But I would definitely say, like I said, finding a mentor, looking at someone who is doing what you're wanting to do, and speaking with them about either how they got in their journey or if they've obviously made it to a point where you feel like there's someone that you can speak to. They probably have some resources that can help you out and help you to understand even as far as investing. Like I said, people think that they need a lot more money than they really do need in order to invest. So they'll probably be able to help you with a lot of those different avenues of getting into that.
Jamaal, do you want to chime in on that at all?
Yeah, to piggyback off of that, I was going to echo those same sentiments that I think research is very important. To research not only people who have been in the same position that you're in or once in the position that you're currently in, but also research other resources. You know, Don spoke about like loans and credits, but also there are small business grants out there that are available. You know, so you could research those things and grant payback. If you can put your plan, you apply for this grant, and now the money that you think you may have needed at the beginning, now you had a grant to get you started, you know, and then up from there you could just grow. So I think doing your research, understanding that investing doesn't always take a ton of capital like we always may think, and then just having confidence and believing in your business. So in casual conversation, somebody may ask you like, hey, well, tell me more about this business. And next thing you know, you may have someone investing in your business and they may not want anything in return. They just want to see you succeed. But a closed mouth doesn't get fed, going back to what Don said.
Okay. So if you guys have any more questions that you want to ask, if you do, go ahead and put them in the chat box. We only have about 10 minutes left. To quite a few you logged on to. And while we wait for that, what's one thing for both of you that you wish you would have known or done differently in high school?
I wish I would have taken those. I didn't finally come to my senses and start taking those advanced level classes because I didn't want to have to deal with how hard they were. My mom tried to convince me to take them because my teachers always told me that I should, but I was like, no, I'm making great grades in the classes that I'm in. But at the end of the day, I probably could have gotten more scholarships and things like that if I would have actually taken that leap a little bit earlier than I did. I didn't start taking advanced level classes until my junior year.
Mm-hmm. Jamaal?
I would say some of the things that took a little more work, like when it was applying for certain things that required an essay or actually reading different things. I think if I can go back in high school, I would actually like read a little more, or I would look into more scholarship opportunities and different things. But back then I was just caught up in, I play football. I'm going to school to play football. So I didn't really take that extra mile or that extra step to look at that or look at the avenues. But ultimately, like, you're going to hang your cleats up, you're going to hang your helmet up. So I think I would have started planning, or I had a teacher that used to always say, begin with the end in mind. So if I can go back, I would start preparing for later in life a little earlier.
Okay, so the last thing, any contact information that you guys would like to leave, in the chat for students to be able to contact you, you can go ahead and type that in for them. And I'll also send an email out as well.
Okay.
There's also like the last few questions that just came in if you want to read them and answer them.
Yeah, I see it.
Yeah, I see the marketing major. That one is, I feel like marketing is everything. If you are a good marketing, if you can figure out a good marketing strategy, every company can use you because great marketing is what brings people money. So as long as you, like I said, go above and beyond and figure out what people can do better, or what you can do better than other people to help companies make money, marketing is huge.
And Joe
I
chimed
agree.
in. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Jamaal.
Oh, I was just saying I agree with Don.
Okay, and Joe chimed in with, it's a good idea to find speakers and attendees who will be at an event, then talk to them. You can even ask the host or others there to introduce you. When networking, it's helpful to arrive early and also leave late. It doesn't hurt to offer help, break down the tables, or put away chairs, especially if the host is a person or organization that you want to network with. Mm-hmm. So thank you for that, Joe. Bobby, I know you had some last minute closing announcements, so if you want to go ahead.
Yes, just please sign in if you haven't signed in. First name, last name, and what JA program you're a part of. On Wednesday, 2 p.m., we're going to have another session with Mitch Whalen of Comres, and he's going to be talking a little bit about conflict resolution. So we'll send you the invite as usual. Just look out for that. That's pretty much it, you guys. Thank you, and thank you to Dawn and Jamaal.
Yes, thank you guys.
Thanks for having us.
No
Thank you.
problem. Bye.
Yeah.
Bye, everybody. Have a good day.